Alright, so for this video I'm going to be going over a skill called Will of Wind, and that is this skill down here, Will of Wind. It's a really strong skill when you're up close. It's a great skill in PvE as well as PvP. It gives a debuff that takes away 12 ranged defense from your target. It's activated by pressing Shift Q. You can see on my keyboard I have control. That's because I switched the shift and control buttons. I prefer using control. So this is what it looks like pressing shift and Q. It roots you in place when you use it this way, so I highly recommend that you don't use it this way, and this is why I'm going to show you how to Will of Wind cancel. So I'm gonna do that one more time, just while holding down the directional key, just to show you guys how long it roots you in place. So it's about a second and a half. So again, you don't want to use it in PvP. You know, once you get rooted in place, or you use a skill that roots you in place, they're gonna catch up to you. You want to keep your distance. Alright, in PvP, I mean PvE, I guess you can use it this way if you'd like, but if there's a better way to do it, then you should do it. Okay, so how do you Will of Wind cancel? That is with the F button. You can press either A or D, directional button, and then press F to cancel and activate Will of Wind. Alright, so that's A in the left direction and D in the other direction. Alright, so that's how you can cancel Will of Wind, as well as use the skill in a way that makes you mobile. So that way in PvP you can keep moving it, so you can spam it too. And that'll keep you moving, rather than rooting you in place and you sitting duck. Okay, so if you want to spam the skill, you can go either left or right. You just hold down both keys, right? D and then hold down F. There you're spamming, and then you can do the same thing for A. So now I'm going to do A with F, so you can spam in both directions. Alright, so how do you use this skill in PvP? Most of the time, in PvP for a ranger, you want to keep your distance. You don't ever want to get any closer than 15 to 20 meters. 15 to 20 is kind of dangerous. You're like right on the edge. If you're further than that, you're in a safe spot because you can just kind of shoot them from far away. Okay, but if you're within 15 meters, all it takes is like one dash or teleport from your opponent for them to catch up to you. Okay, and if you see Will of Wind, I'm going to turn my camera down. Its range isn't all that great. It's maybe like 10 meters. It doesn't even reach the second line of scarecrows, does it? Oh, it does. So it's maybe a little bit over 10, but I would say less than 15. Okay, so this is not something that you're going to use on your opponent in PvP generally, especially when you first start the duel or the fight. It's going to be something that you're using when they rush at you and they've caught up to you. Okay, it's usually going to be like it's usually going to be something like a last-ditch effort. Say for example, you're fighting a warrior or a Valk, they catch up to you, right? They grab you, they knock you down, or they stun you, and now you're like 1 meter away from your opponent. What do? Will of Wind is really strong when you're close to your target, and because you can spam it, you can just spin around them while spamming Will of Wind. And the advantage of doing that, especially versus blocking classes, is that in order for them to block you, they have to be facing you. And if you're spinning around them as fast as you are using Will of Wind cancel, they're not going to be able to catch up to you with their mouse, because their mouse is literally going to have to slide across the table to catch up in order to block. Okay, so let's say this guy right here, half-naked guy. Is he half-naked? Yeah, half-naked guy. Alright, so he's going to be my target in PvP. He's a warrior. He just knocked me down. I just got up. I'm at 10% HP. He's at about 50. And I'm going to spam the crap out of him with Will of Wind. So basically I'm literally just spinning around him. And you can imagine being a warrior in PvP or a blocking class. I mean, try spinning your mouse around that fast in order to block a shot. You're going to have to move your mouse quite a bit in order to do something like that. So it's a really good counter for when they knock you down. But at the same time, it's situational. You have to decide whether or not you want to Q cancel forward or away, or if you want to use evasive explosive shot or something like that. Another skill that might be helpful in that situation would be extreme or ultimate wind charging, which would be that skill. That orange skill right there. Um, that skill is really strong when you're right up in their face. It's like a shotgun. So, I mean, again, situational. I like to use Will of Wind once I get knocked down because it's a really good counter. It's hard for them to target you when you're spinning around them in circles, and it does a lot of damage and really fast. I can 100 to 0 somebody with pretty much one combo of Will of Wind if they're up that close. But that also means if you get caught while being that close, or if you get grabbed, again, you're good as dead. So I wouldn't rely on this technique. Don't run up to somebody and say, I'm just going to use Will of Wind and spam the crap out of them and they're going to be dead. That's not the right logic to go through. Use it as a last-ditch effort, or if they get too close and they just happen to be nearby and you know you can still get away, go ahead and throw a Will of Wind in there and then go on to Q spamming. Right? So let's say this Scarecrow in front of me is my target. We're pretty close. Alright, but I'm about to Q spam, but I want to give the -12 ranged attack, ranged defense debuff, right? So Will of Wind, Q spam, and then you can keep your distance that way. So that's how you can use this skill. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.